She thought she married a loyal millionaire, a man who promised to protect her dignity at any cost. But on the most important day for her family, her brother's grand luxury wedding, her husband invited the one woman who once tried to destroy her life, his ex. In a ballroom filled with diamonds, royalty-level decor, chandeliers, cameras, and thousands of eyes, she stood there silent, burning inside, but not broken. Instead of creating a scene, she chose class over chaos, patience over panic, and planned a priceless lesson that he would never forget. The story becomes a roller coaster of betrayal, elegance, mind games, exposed intentions, hidden truths, emotional tension, and a twist that hits like fire, where dignity wins, ego burns, and the heroine walks out with her power, her pride, and her justice. I never imagined that one invitation could shatter a marriage, a family, and the very meaning of trust. My brother's wedding week was supposed to be the most beautiful memory of our lives. A 7-star luxury resort by the coastline, chandeliers crafted in gold, a ballroom filled with musicians and international guests, and a celebration so grand that even the newspapers were waiting for photographs. And I was happy, genuinely happy. For the first time in months, I felt peace. I believed I had a husband who loved me, a family that adored me, and a future that looked unshakable. I spent the morning helping my brother rehearse his vows, adjusting his cufflinks, and teasing him the way sisters do. Everything felt perfect. Until the evening. Guests started arriving one by one in glittering gowns and flawless tuxedos. Elite faces, powerful names, familiar voices. I greeted everyone with a smile. But then, suddenly, I felt my heart stumble. My breath paused. Because standing at the entrance, shimmering in a silver dress that hugged her like poison, was the last woman I ever wanted to see. My husband's ex. The woman who once tried to ruin me. The woman who mocked my dignity, laughed at my feelings, and spread rumors when I first married him. The woman who told me, with a smile, that men like my husband never stay loyal to women like me. And there she was again, at my brother's wedding. Invited. I froze. For a moment, I truly believed she had crashed the event. But then I saw it. My husband walking right behind her, smiling, guiding her in as if she belonged. His hand rested casually at her back, leading her through the crowd. Every step they took together felt like a blade against my chest. Our eyes met from across the hall, and instead of guilt or fear, he nodded at me, as if everything was normal. Normal. She walked up to me before he did, leaning close enough that I could smell her perfume. The same perfume she used to wear when she would message him at midnight, before I ever found out. She said, with a soft, venomous grin, "Congratulations. Your family has such classy taste." I wouldn't have missed this for anything. I didn't speak. Not because I was weak, but because rage has two forms. One that screams, and one that goes silent right before it destroys everything. My husband finally approached, placing a hand on my shoulder as if I was a fragile decoration. "I hope you don't mind," he whispered. "We're all adults." I thought inviting her would show we've moved on. Moved on? My mind echoed those words again and again. Not once did he ask me. Not once did he consider my feelings. Not once did he think what this would do to my respect, my comfort, my family. I excused myself and walked to the terrace, holding my tears back like a queen who refuses to bleed in public. The ocean waves below crashed against the rocks, and so did my thoughts. Why her? Why today? Why here, of all places? I stood there until my anger became clarity. As the wind hit my face, something inside me changed. I realized I had only two choices: destroy the night, or destroy the illusion. And I chose the second. I fixed my dress, straightened my back, lifted my chin, and walked back inside. If they expected drama, I would give them dignity instead. If they expected me to break, I would break their expectations instead. When I re-entered the ballroom, I saw the two of them standing close, laughing in a private conversation. My husband didn't even bother to step away. He looked comfortable. Too comfortable. As if he believed I would never do anything. as if my silence meant surrender. He forgot one thing. A woman's silence is not the end. It is the warning. I walked toward them with the most graceful smile I had ever worn. My husband turned, surprised by my sudden calmness. I took his hand gently, and for a second, he believed everything was fine. Little did he know, I had already decided exactly how this night would end. And when I deliver my lesson, he will remember it for the rest of his life. Because some lessons are expensive, and some are priceless. When I looked at them again from across the ballroom, something had changed inside me. I no longer felt wounded. I felt awakened. I didn't want an argument, a fight, or a scene that would stain my brother's wedding. I wanted clarity. And clarity is a weapon much sharper than rage. My husband raised a glass for a toast, as if the night belonged to him. The crowd gathered, music softened, lights shifted, and eyes turned toward the stage. He smiled with pride, addressing the room about love, family, and loyalty. Each word tasted like irony. When he finished, the hall applauded. Then, before he could step down, I walked forward and gently placed my hand on the microphone. The room fell silent. Even he looked confused, surprised that I wanted to speak. But I wasn't nervous. I wasn't shaking. I was calm.
Too calm.
I stood in the center of the ballroom, surrounded by diamonds, silk gowns, and polished tuxedos. My voice carried through the velvet air. I said I wanted to share something tonight. Not about marriage, not about love, but about dignity. The entire hall leaned in. Dignity, I continued, is not tested on good days. It is tested when the person standing beside you decides to forget your value. My husband's expression tightened. His ex folded her arms, amused, believing I would crumble. But I wasn't there to crumble. I was there to crown myself. I spoke directly to the crowd, not to him. A marriage is not destroyed by storms. It is destroyed when one partner unlocks the door and invites the storm inside. I paused, letting that line sink into every listening mind. You could hear breaths, but not words. My husband stepped forward, whispering, "Enough? What are you doing?" But I raised my hand slightly, and he froze. For the first time, he understood this was no longer a place where he led. I did. I turned toward the guests again. You all see a beautiful celebration tonight. You see lights, flowers, music. But what you don't see are the small choices that either honor a woman or humiliate her. Tonight, a choice was made. Not by me. His ex shifted uncomfortably now. The smile she once wore started to dim. My voice remained soft, steady, controlled. Sometimes, I said, a woman stays silent not because she accepts disrespect. She stays silent because she is deciding when and where to end the story. My husband finally realized the ground beneath him was opening. He tried to speak, but the microphone was mine, and so was the moment. I lifted my chin and finished the speech gracefully. I will not share my life with a man who shares his loyalty with his past. I returned the microphone and walked down the steps without a tear, without a tremor, without looking back. Every step echoed power. Guests stepped aside respectfully. No one laughed. No one whispered. They watched a woman choosing self-worth over spectacle. My husband followed me, panic in his voice, calling my name. We reached the private lounge behind the ballroom and he grabbed my hand, begging me to stop. Listen, he pleaded. It was just an invitation. You're overreacting. Overreacting. That word. The favorite word of guilty men. I slowly removed my hand from his grip. I told him, you didn't just invite her. You invited disrespect into my home, my heart, and my family celebration. And then you expected me to smile for your comfort. He tried to blame my emotions, calling me dramatic, telling me I misunderstood. But I didn't misunderstand. I understood perfectly. A man who values you protects you from old wounds. A man who doesn't reopens them. I told him I was done pretending. There was no screaming, no chaos, just clarity. You chose her presence over my peace. Now I choose my peace over your presence. His face collapsed. He realized the finality in my voice. The ex entered the room for a moment, curious to witness the damage, but I didn't even look at her. She wasn't relevant. My fight was never with a woman from the past. My issue was with the man who brought her into my present. I picked up my clutch, adjusted my bracelet, and walked toward the exit. He blocked the door, desperate now, fear replacing arrogance. "Please don't do this," he said. "We can fix it." It meant nothing. That was his problem. It meant nothing to him, but it cost everything to me. I replied softly, "That's exactly why I'm leaving. Because you can't see the value of what you almost lost." For a moment, he stood still, speechless, as if life had struck him in a place no apology could reach. I stepped around him and opened the door. As I walked away, I didn't cry. I didn't tremble. I wasn't the victim. I was the verdict. I returned to the ballroom just long enough to hug my brother, congratulate the bride, and tell them I loved them. I didn't mention what happened. Their night deserved beauty, not shadows. Then I walked out through the grand lobby of that luxury resort with my head high and my dignity higher. Cameras flashed, guests stared, and rumors would surely fly. But I didn't care. I wasn't running. I was rising. When the doors opened and the night air touched my face, I felt free. Not lonely. Not broken. Free. Some goodbyes are not tragedies. They are corrections. And that night, I corrected the biggest mistake of my life. I left a millionaire behind. But I took something far more valuable with me. My dignity.